Hello and welcome to the Whitby Public Library's From Book to Table. Today we're going to be teaching you how to make sourdough starter. For those of you who are having trouble finding yeast in the grocery stores, this is a great way to make it from home and catch the wild yeast that is in our air. Today to help me make this is going to be my mom. Hello, Mom.
Hi, Shelby.
Yay. Okay, so what do we need to start our sourdough yeast, Mom?
Well, you're just going to need a few ingredients. It doesn't take much at all. You just need some whole wheat flour, some filtered water or bottled water. The chlorine kind of reacts with the flour and then it doesn't develop. So it's better to use filtered water, boiled water, or bottled water. Okay, and you'll also need a jar. So this is a 3/4 liter jar. It gives lots of room for expansion. It's one of my canning jars.
Perfect. Okay, so what is our first step in making our sourdough starter?
Well, it's pretty easy. You're going to take your... This just helps me get everything into the jar. So I don't spill it all over the counter. So then you're just going to put your flour, pre-measured, and that is half a cup of flour, the whole wheat flour. Okay, just make sure it's all in there. And it is. And then you can add the water, and it's a 1/4 cup of the water.
1/4 cup of water, just pour it right in.
Yep. And then you're going to mix it with a fork. And you want to mix it up so that it's kind of doughy and stretchy, and you want to make sure it's all in there. If it's a little dry, you want to add just a little bit of water, just a touch, because we're not weighing this and we're doing a measure. Sometimes it can be drier or wetter depending on what the atmosphere is at the time. So you may need to add a little bit more in there.
This is what it looks like right now. We're going to add
a little too dry, so we're going to add a little bit more.
Now, should I measure it or can I just put a splash in?
Just put a splash. A couple drips. Ooh. Yep. The nice thing about sourdough starter is it's pretty easy to keep alive. It's a living thing. You do need to name your sourdough starter. So this is my sourdough starter. His name is Ned Starch.
We are big fans of Game of Thrones here.
And you have to feed him, if you keep him in the fridge, you have to feed him once a week. If you really like to make bread and you want to make bread and waffles and everything every day, then you can keep it on your counter and feed it every day. But that means you're taking half away and feeding it and using that stuff you take out to make bread or waffles or pizza dough or whatever it is you want.
So every day you have to half it, correct? Cut it in half?
Yes.
And so then
you're leaving it on the counter.
And then you can use that in whatever you want. So it's a great way to continue using your sourdough while still growing it. And what happens the longer that you have the sourdough? How does that affect the taste?
Good question. So really it just gets tangier and tangier and tangier.
So the first time you bake with your sourdough starter, it's not going to have that super sour taste that sourdough you get in the grocery store would have,
No,
right?
it's going to be kind of mild because you're just starting out. So then that is pretty much the texture. So you can see it's kind of doughy and you can pull it. And that's basically what you want. You just want it like that. And then all you're going to do is cover it with the lid from the jar. Just lightly. You don't want to do it heavy. And you're going to leave it.
Okay, so we have made our sourdough starter. Here it is right here. Now we're just going to discuss what we need to do for the next couple of days. So what are we going to do on our second day?
So second day, you're going to open the jar, look at your starter, and if there's any kind of brown liquid on the top, you want to pour that off. We call that hooch. It's kind of smells like gym socks. It's not the nice stuff. Doesn't mean your sourdough is bad. Just need to pour that off. It's the fermentation process that's starting to work. And then put the lid back on, leave it on the counter.
So the third day is when we're going to start cutting our sourdough in half, correct?
Right. So the third day, you're going to look at it. Again, pour off that brown liquid. You don't want that. Take out half. put that in a paper towel and put it in your green bin. You don't want to put that down the sink. It will block up your drains. So put it in the green bin. The half that you have in the jar still, you're going to switch to all-purpose flour. You're going to add half a cup of all-purpose flour and a quarter cup of the filtered or bottled water. And then you're going to mix that with the fork again, put the lid on, put it on the counter, and you're done for that day. And every day is like that. It could take up to 2 weeks to make your sourdough starter, and you'll know it's ready when you do the water test. And when we get closer, we'll show you what the water test looks like.
Well, that's pretty exciting. So we are going to do a couple of check-ins. So we're done for today, and I'll see you tomorrow when we check out what our sourdough looks like tomorrow, okay? I'll see you tomorrow. See you later. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Hello, and it is our second day today, so I'm just going to check out what my sourdough is looking like. I did leave it out on the counter overnight, so let's check out and see if there's any bubbling, what's going on. Maybe we might have to pour some hooch off, so let's see. Are you ready? So it does look like there's a little bit of hooch in there, so we are going to pour it off just so that we can continue the fermentation process, okay? Just gonna pour it down the drain, get rid of that excess there. We're looking good. Okay, so we've poured off all of our brown liquid, or hooch as my mom called it. I'm just gonna put the cap lightly back on the top, and I'm gonna put it right over here, and I'm just gonna leave it again for the night, and then I'll see you tomorrow to see what it looks like, okay? Thank you for joining me on my second day. Bye. Hello everybody, it's been a couple of days. It's been actually about a week since we started doing our starter. It has been sitting, so this is what it looks like just from me feeding it yesterday to today. Today we're going to be cutting it in half. We're going to need half a cup of white all-purpose flour, and then we're also going to take a quarter cup of filtered water, just like we did that first day. So make sure you either use a bottle of water, which is what I've used, or you can boil water, let it cool and sit, and then use that as well. So we're going to stir up our mixture. Just get it to deflate a little bit. Good, just scoop one out into the bowl. And we're gonna leave that and put that aside. Okay, so we're gonna take our half cup of flour and we're gonna put it into our sourdough starter. Just have, there we go. And then we're gonna take our quarter cup of water, put that in as well. And do a pop. Okay, so it has the right kind of consistency with a little bit of stretch, and we are good to put the cap back on. Just put it back on top, and we can leave it overnight again. And that you're gonna do every day. We can now use what we have left over in the bowl. Today I think we're gonna make waffles, and then you're all set, okay? See you later. Water test, and the water test is coming up right now. See you in a bit.
All you need for your water test is a little cup of water, and then just take a spoonful of your starter, place it into the cup of water to see if it floats, and it looks like ours is floating. Yay! So that means we are able to start baking with it. Great!
And that's all we have for you today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me while I learned how to make sourdough starter. I have it right here. His name is Ronald Whitby. Make sure to name all of your sourdough starters. If you do end up making sourdough starter from our video here today, make sure to post it on social media and tag us at Whitby Library. We'd love to see what you did. If you have any questions or concerns, do the same thing. We're on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. We'd love to answer any of your questions. And don't forget to check out some of our digital collections that have cookbooks on them, such as Hoopla and Libby/Overdrive. There's actually a book on Hoopla called Baking with Sourdough, and it's by Sarah Pitzer, so make sure to check that out. It gives some good pointers as to how to cook with sourdough and different other kinds of country living things that we don't usually do in our regular everyday lives, but have come part of the norm just due to everything going on. If you're interested in seeing how my waffles turned out that I made from my first batch of the sourdough, make sure to stick around for after the credits. You'll see my sister and I fooling around with our waffle maker. If you do end up making your sourdough starter, please tag us. We'd be so interested to see what you do. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. It's been super fun. Thank you so much for watching. Follow us on all of our social media or visit us at whitbylibrary.ca to discover more of our online programs and collections. See you later. Bye guys.